Saturday is officially fall here in the United States, but it definitely doesn't feel like it here in Florida. We're having heat record after heat record. I think it's going to be in the mid-90s for the next few days. So what do you do when you want fall, but it's not feeling like it outside? Well, I like to decorate my house, get some fall-like fragrances going, like some pumpkin and apple and cinnamon and things like that. It always makes me in the mood for fall. But another thing you could do is also the food you eat. So I started thinking about what I was in the mood for, and shepherd's pie came to mind. It's a typical fall or winter food for me, and it's definitely easy to make keto friendly. You can use whatever vegetables you happen to have at home. Shepherd's pie is typically minced or ground meat with a mashed potato topping. And of course that would not work out so good on a keto diet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a base with some ground beef, and I happen to have some leek, an onion, and half a red pepper that needs to be used up, with a little bit of mushrooms. So I'm going to use that for my meat mixture. For the mashed potato, I'm going to make a cauliflower mash instead. And then we're going to also put some cheddar cheese on top. After you make sure you turn on your oven to 450 degrees to preheat, you want to take your 1 pound of ground beef and add it to your pan. I have about a tablespoon of butter in there as well. And then you can add your onion that you have chopped in there. And you just want to cook this until the beef is all cooked through. Continuously breaking up the beef into smaller pieces. While you wait for the beef to cook through, you want to cut your leek in half and rinse really well between the leaves, because it can get a lot of dirt trapped in there. And then you want to chop that up into small pieces. You don't have to use leeks if you don't want to. It's not very common here in the United States, but where I'm from in Scandinavia, we use it quite often, and it has a very pleasant, mild, oniony taste to it. Also, go ahead and dice your red pepper. I just happen to use whatever vegetables I had at hand at home, but the red pepper does give it a nice color in the dish. When your onion and beef mixture is all cooked through, go ahead and add your mushrooms. You don't have to use mushrooms if you don't like. I personally don't eat mushrooms. My husband loves mushrooms, but I don't mind cooking with them as long as I can pick out the pieces. At this time, also add your leek and red pepper. Everything starts cooking down nicely together. You want to start a pot of water for your cauliflower with a nice handful of salt in there. And if you have Worcestershire sauce, you can definitely use that. I'm going to use a squirt of tamari to season. And it's also nice to have a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. I like to use the tubes. You can just squirt it straight in there. Mix it all in there real good. Then you want to go ahead and add a little bit of salt. I'm using Himalayan pink sea salt and some black pepper. At this point, you can turn off the heat on your pan, and you want to give it a small taste test to make sure that the seasonings are right. I think I need a little bit more salt and pepper. I'm going to add some of my trusty seaweed shakers to give it a little bit of an iodine boost. I got the dulce and I got the kelp. These don't actually have much of a flavor, maybe a tiny bit salty in this minced granules of seaweed. But it does add a little bit of iodine to your diet, which is important, especially if you, like me, only eat Himalayan pink salt, which does not have any added iodine in it. Alright, so our base for the shepherd's pie is now done. We're gonna make our cauliflower mash. Go ahead and add your chopped up cauliflower to your boiling water. The cauliflower shouldn't need to cook for more than about 10 minutes or so before it's soft enough. You can use a fork for testing. So when it's getting close to 10 minutes, you can start testing it, see if it's soft enough to mash. Does it smell good? Walter really would like some shepherd's pie. Yeah, it smells good. Unfortunately, it's not for puppers. I know that makes you sad. I'm going to cook your cauliflower until it's about al dente in feeling. You don't want it completely soft. Mine took about 7 minutes. Make sure you drain your cauliflower really well to minimize any sogginess. To my cauliflower, I'm going to be adding a little bit of heavy whipping cream. Go very light because you don't know how soggy it's going to be, so you want to do a little bit at first. You want to add about a tablespoon of butter. And I also like to add salt and pepper. If you happen to have some nutmeg, I could really recommend you do a little bit of that. For pepper, I like to use both black and white peppercorn. You don't have to. I just like the harsher flavor of the white peppercorn in my mash. I use my immersion blender for making my mash. You can use whatever method you prefer. After you mash it for a little bit, you can see if it looks dry, and if it does, just add a little tiny bit of more cream. I have buttered my casserole dish, and you just add your meat mixture in there. To your shepherd's pie mixture in your casserole pan, now you want to add a nice string of mashed cauliflower around. That is looking pretty good. Now you want to add your shredded cheese on top. That is looking pretty good. I am looking forward to getting in a fall mood eating this. So let's now pop it in our 450-degree oven for about 20 minutes or so. I just took my shepherd's pie out of the oven, and it does look very yummy, and it's definitely going to put me in the fall mood. Hope you enjoy it.